Tonight on the Super Important Show, we discuss the peanut Sisyphus of Colorado Springs, find out what doctors are telling you to put on your no-no places now, and decide whether we'd rather take an ice-cold shower or a warm bath that somebody's already used. Given that it's 81 degrees in this room right now, I know which way I'm leaning. And that's not even half of what we're going to talk about. I am your host, Justin Diodato, and with me I have two amazing co-hosts who are going to help me try and figure all these things out. First up, she's got cool dresses on her mind, and her mind on cool dresses is Heather Jules Booth. How are you doing, Heather Jules Booth?
Emphasis on cool, please. It is. I'm sure it's at least 81 degrees in this room right now. At least.
Yep. It is the worst. And she's the queen of sticking her hand up things' butts to get them to talk. It's Julia Darden. How you doing, Julia?
Hey,
wow.
That's how I always want to be introduced from now on, I think.
I wasn't sure if you were going to be cool with it. I decided to just go with it.
Good to catch me on the fly.
Yep. If it's bad, I am sorry. Is it okay? Do you forgive me? Are we all right?
I allow the comments. Okay. I feel like I've been called worse in my life, so
she used to be in City Hall. Like, let's be real.
Okay. Before we begin, Julia, tell people who you are, what you do, what makes you tick.
I'm Julia. I'm a puppeteer. If you didn't guess, that's why I stick my hands up things. Or it's that I do. I am also a comedian. I do lots of fun shows too. And yeah, that's it. That's all I do. Well, I was a fake paleontologist once, hence the photo of the promo shots.
Also, the former marketing director at my job messaged me and was like, "Hey, I was the marketing person when that photo shoot was taken." So I was like, "Oh, small world." Or I don't know if they were the marketing person, but they worked there.
Oh, they worked at Fuel Station?
I guess so.
It's a place that may not be named.
I'll message you after and figure out if you know them.
Apparently it still exists. I learned this the other day. My friend is actually is the dinosaur doctor right now and fixes all the dinosaurs.
Nice.
Yeah. Small worlds coming together.
Truly.
Heather, you wanna get us kicked off? Get us into our show with our World You Crazy?
Yeah, of course. World You Crazy. It's hot everywhere. The UK is in a giant heat wave. And meanwhile, a Colorado Springs man hopes to be the fourth person to push a peanut up Pikes Peak with his nose. This man named Bob Salem wears a device affixed to his face that looks sort of like a cross between a gas mask and the trunk of an elephant. I'm leaning more towards skinny elephant.
Let me know if you want it.
Let's go through the story first.
Okay.
In front of him, there's a peanut in its shell. Very important to note that it's a peanut in its shell. And he says, so basically, I'm just going to sit here and low crawl my way up here and flick the peanut up the mountain.
That's a euphemism, right?
That's what he's going to do.
That's definitely a euphemism.
I think it might be. Yeah, it sounds like it. I think it's time to show the first picture, Dustin. Let's go for it.
First, Joy's pointing out you got to have dreams. And I agree.
Sure. Everyone's got to have dreams. There it is. And there's that fully shelled peanut.
Yeah, he's doing that all the way up the mountain.
Would it be harder if it's unshelled? Why the need for it to be shelled?
I don't know. Is it more fun? I don't really know.
Eat it afterward? That's the reward.
Maybe.
It's more durable.
So it's a mask. This mask is made from a CPAP sleep machine with a serving spoon duct taped to it. And he hopes to, with this device, be the fourth person to successfully climb Pikes Peak on his hands and knees while pushing a peanut with his nose. He's never allowed to touch the peanut with his hands, and he says he is able to go about a mile an hour. It's a 12.6 mile journey. Also, I want to point that out. 12.6 miles, which is ridiculous. It says, as he continues, hikers come down the trail utterly perplexed by what's happening, And he says, come on by, folks. I'm just practicing. So he was practicing this. It says that a man walked by him and called him nuts, presumably, intending that pun, which is great. It says a person in 1929 first did this on a $50 bet, which back then, that was a lot of money. I don't know what he's getting for it now. I don't know that it said what he was getting other than the glory. Somebody else did this in 1963 using a salad spoon attached to their nose. And somebody else did it in 1976 in 4 days. But, spoiler alert, nobody actually saw him do it. So that other guy might be a fake. He might be lying about it.
Heather, if you're wondering what he's getting, mad chicks. That's what he's going to get out of this. Mad chicks.
Where's he in Colorado Springs? Oh yeah, that's hot there.
What? Wow. Wow.
You're not sexually excited by this prospect?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
Look at that sexy mask he wears.
Look at that sexy mask. Yeah, can't wait. This is absolutely bizarre. It says that he decided to try his luck at this because he saw a Facebook post saying how neat it would be for someone to do it again. That's all it took. Somebody was like, hey, remember this? Really neat if someone did it again.
Heather, you're really telling me that this isn't a very sexually attractive image right here?
Nothing about this photo is sexual.
I love the judgment in that child's eyes.
I also love the judgment in that child's eyes. That child has the soul of an old person who's seen things, and those are the things that child's seen. That child's like, another day with this nonsense. Yeah, it is.
It's that it's fourth. Like, he wouldn't even get a medal in the Olympics. Like, he's fourth.
Right. I do agree with Michelle's comment that if he succeeds, he's obligated to become roommates with everybody.
I had not checked the chat yet. That is really funny.
I hate to spoil the story for people, but he actually did succeed. Since we figured this out, he actually succeeded. He made it up in 6 days.
3 days more than he thought. He thought he was going to make it in 3 days.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's so many days.
That's so
more than 1 day is too much effort on this.
2 hours is too much effort. Like, what are you doing?
So you're saying you don't want to be fifth?
No, absolutely not. I can think of a million things I'd rather do with my time.
Okay. All right. If
we've never been to Colorado Springs, this might be it. That's true.
Yeah. Right.
That's true. I don't know. Yeah.
The thing that annoyed me when I looked at the article was that typically
I'm a Joy.
What does Joy say?
Joy says she's disappointed he didn't do it in 1 day.
A mile an hour. That's 12 hours, dude.
Yeah.
Also, Michelle brings up a great point. Imagining how calling out from work went each day, right? Like, was this PTO? Like, what was it?
I hope it was PTO.
Look at Michelle.
All right, but Joy and Michelle, get prepared to be even more annoyed by this, because as it turns out, for me, at least this annoyed me. I don't know if it annoyed everybody else as much as it annoyed me. Usually, the peanut doesn't make it all the way through. They have like a bag of peanuts. Like, usually the peanuts get destroyed along the way.
The same peanut?
Yeah, so it's not even the same peanut. It's just like the concept of peanuts get moved all the way up the mountain, but it's usually not the original peanut, which I feel like if you're going to do it for real. It needs to be the same peanut. You need to be able to protect the peanut the whole way up too.
Yeah, that annoys me more.
Make it like a home ec thing.
Yeah. Kind
of almost viscerally angry at this man.
Right.
Wasting his time.
Yeah. Michelle doing amazing in the comments once again. Do we want to move on to our next story then? Since apparently nobody's going to join in. Julia, go for it.
No one's happy about this man.
No one is. It's just,
unnecessary. You wasted your life, sir.
Arguably his family too, because I'm assuming that little boy was his son.
No, it was probably his nephew, because it didn't look like a blood relative. It was just like, you're
Do you think that kid had to stay there all 6 days? That sucks.
It was, this is a terrible joke. It was Dad's weekend, so.
Jeez.
Sorry.
Oh my god. No, it's a good joke. Good joke.
Yes, we can move on to my story.
Yeah, please.
Which, I don't know if it's definitely not a palate cleanser, from that story we just had, but, so apparently scientists have discovered that dolphins recognize friends by tasting their piss. That is the title of this article. And I also want to read the byline because it is quite entertaining. Scientists put pee in a little cup at the end of a very long pole to see if they sampled their friends' pee longer than strangers' pee. That's a very important part. So there were scientists from the Austin State University in Texas and the University of St. Andrews in Scotland. They worked together to find out that dolphins can identify other individual dolphins just by the taste of their pee. They discovered this while they were actually trying to find out about dolphins' signature whistles, which I guess dolphins have, like we have names. Dolphins have like specific sounds that they use for their names that they've given themselves. Apparently, scientists have also discovered this. So they wanted to see that if this gets a little confusing. They wanted to see if dolphins would recognize other individual dolphins not just by whistles, but by associating the whistles with other senses. So they described it kind of like how humans, if we said the word like mug, we would know what the mug was if we like were seeing it or hearing it or feeling it. We would all, like in our head, we knew that was all associated with the same object. They wanted to see if dolphins could do this as well. So their first thought was, what if they put a giant high-definition television into the water with, like, pictures while they were playing the noise? And they realized that would be very expensive. But then they went from that immediately to, I know, what if we get samples of urine and put it in the water and see if dolphins will taste it?
And if you don't mind, I just want to jump in there real quick.
Yeah.
It wasn't until you were telling the story that it occurred to me, how do you get fish pee? Like, don't they just pee into the water?
Well, in this experiment, they explained, because I'm sure everyone had that thought, there are some dolphins in Bermuda and Hawaii which have been trained specifically to give urine samples for health assessments. So they use these dolphins because they are trained to piss in a cup. And then what they would do is they would put a speaker down in the water and they would play the noise of the name of the dolphin. And it's true, Troy's right. Dolphins are not.
Yeah, but they're in the water. They still pee like fish do. Okay.
Well, so they had to. They said they got this idea for the urine because they've noticed that dolphins follow each other around and already taste each other's urine. That's like a thing that dolphins do. Because they can't smell. They don't have olfactory glands because they're underwater. So they have to taste everything. So they would put a microphone down in the water. They would then drizzle the pee into it and watch the dolphins' reactions. And they would try to mix it up. So they would like play the noise of one dolphin, but put the pee of a different dolphin. And the conclusion of this is they have evidence that dolphins would keep their mouths open longer when encountering the urine of another dolphin that was familiar to them. And they would also hover around the speaker longer when the sound and the pee didn't match. So it took them, like, they would be like, this isn't the right person, dolphin, where's my dolphin friend? This pee doesn't taste the same.
Okay, before we continue, I feel like I need to respond to Michelle, who's been trying to savage me in the comments. First of all, what I'm saying is the dolphins can generally, other than, I guess, what you're explaining, Julia, generally only pee in the water because they're in the water all the time. They're not capable of really, like, going to a urinal or going to a toilet and peeing in it. Whereas,
you don't know that.
Do you know? I feel like I'm closer to right.
Somebody freaking thought to train a dolphin to pee in a cup.
But I imagine it's something, if they're putting the long pole down to pour the pee out, I'm sure they're putting a long pole with a cup at the end up to the dolphin, or it's probably in a facility that's, like, not the ocean, that is like an aquarium.
Right.
And dolphins are trainable. They probably run up and, like, ring a bell that's like, I gotta pee, and then they collect it.
Michelle, you're lying. You do not know any fish that use urinals, and if you do, send us video, and I will. And yeah,
I feel like she could get arrested for videoing fish
peeing.
You
don't think you've seen?
There's a market for it.
You don't think you've seen plenty of fish peeing at this point?
I mean, probably.
Like, I'm sure Jaws was peeing at some point during Jaws. I'm sure, like, things happen. Yeah. Is all I'm saying.
I mean, this because of this very important scientific research that these scientists have done, they're now even thinking, this is probably how fish recognize each other, is by tasting each other's urine.
Okay.
Great.
I feel like Heather's just like, no.
It's this is crazy. No, this is just crazy. I mean, I will say, in some ways, this reminds me, for those of us who know dogs and cats, where, like, dogs sniff each other's butts, and cats also will sniff each other's butts as, like, a way to recognize who's who. So this feels like it's similar, but dogs and I don't know about dogs, but I know cats are not drinking each other's piss and eating each other's.
Well, but the thing is dolphins can't smell. That's what this came down to. Is dolphins
they're just
can't smell. So the next step is drink.
Salty. Must be Charlie.
Yeah. Well, because they wanted to use another sense other than their hearing.
Mm.
And TVs are too heavy, so...
Yeah, and you gotta put them in the water.
I don't think they're that heavy nowadays, but okay.
Ocean-proof ones, maybe.
Yeah.
Wait, is the TV a fish if it goes in the water?
Things aren't fish if they...
in the water is a fish.
Exactly.
I don't know. This feels like Dustin's logic. All things in water are fish.
All I'm saying is that if anything got in the water and peed, collecting that pee independent of the water is very difficult. That's all I'm trying to get at, is that it is very difficult to pee in water and collect that pee. That's all I'm trying to explain. I don't think it's very controversial, but apparently it seems to be.
Yeah.
Do we want to move on to our third weird story? That's probably going to...
It can't escalate anymore, could it?
Yeah, how much weirder could it get?
Do you want to bet? Because here it comes.
No, because I have a feeling it's going to be weird.
I will just... I'll bring up the graphic and then I will get into the story. Sometimes doctors prescribe putting sugar on your butthole.
Shut the fuck up.
Is the story that we're covering right now. Let me bring up my notes so that I don't get anything wrong, because I'm sure this is a very important topic to a lot of people. And before we get into it, I want to say that, like, medical conditions are serious, and I don't want to make fun of any particular medical condition. What we're making fun of here is the treatment for the medical condition, because I think we're at a point in our lives where we think that, like, something like leeches happened a long time ago and we are so much better and smarter. Right.
They still happen.
We have this impression that we're, like, better at science than I think sometimes we are, and there are certain things that it's come out that are still happening. So let me read the opening line of this article. The article starts, right? So here's a weird one. There's more than a 0% chance of a doctor sprinkling sugar on your butthole someday. And as soon as I read that, I was just like, okay, I need to delve deeper into this article. So the reason you would do it is if you had a prolapsed anus. And you're
Okay.
Yeah, so the first thing I did was I was like, okay, I need to better understand what a prolapsed anus is before I get any further into this story. So I looked it up. I'm like,
You don't really want to know.
That was a fun Google image search, eh?
It was. I definitely went to incognito mode for that one because I didn't need Google like thinking that I was searching for it for any other reason. Even though I put it immediately in a Google Doc, and now Google knows that I'm saving information about it. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with the concept of a prolapsed anus, prolapse is any body part that slips or falls from its normal position. A rectal prolapse is where your rectum, the last section of your large intestines, drops or slides out of your anus. And this is my favorite part of the description. It says, while this may sound scary, it's typically not considered a medical emergency. However, the longer you have the condition, the worse it can get. Living with rectal prolapse can cause embarrassment and affect your quality of life. I would agree with that statement.
Yeah.
Having not have it happen to me, I'm pretty sure that if my intestines were coming out of my butt, I would probably have a lower quality of life than I do now. Basically, the idea behind it is putting sugar. It says putting sugar pulls out the excess fluids from your prolapsed anus, causing it to shrink. Think salting a slug. The person explained that once the swelling is down, it usually pops right back in, or just needs a little push. Usually with their finger, like a doctor will just pop it back in. She added that the technique, hence the graphic that I have up, the technique is commonly referred to, is colloquially referred to as a Sour Patch Kid, which is very upsetting to me.
I hate that.
Is that how they got the name?
I imagine
man.
so, yes. It is also sometimes referred to as sugaring the rim. That is probably the more acceptable version of it than Sour Patch Kid. I don't know.
Story sounds so filthy.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Okay. So here's an important reason why I'm telling it to you, Heather, because there's definitely like, well, Heather's going to be repulsed by this, but it's important that you get it, you learn, because this is even more common in veterinary situations. Veterinary textbooks often describe this as a treatment for dogs, cats, and horses. You have cats. It's sooner or later you're going to need to push their anus back into their body, and this is the best way to do it.
I hope not. I truly hope not.
Sooner or later it's going to happen.
Let's hope not. Let's hope not.
It is very common in cats. Yeah,
I have actually heard of it in cats also. Yeah.
Here's how they
a lot of rescue pages, so you see that. I see it come up.
Here's how they ended the article, which was my so very fun way of ending an article. It says the success rate of putting sugar on your butthole is around 50%, which means 50% of the time it does not work.
Just walking around with a sugared anus.
Right. It says with few downsides. At worst, all you've done is made your prolapsed butthole slightly less tart, is how they end the article.
How?
Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. When was this discovered? And why was this discovered?
I'm assuming
I don't know that I want to know the
How many
answer.
other baking supplies that they sprinkle on prolapsed anuses? They're
I feel like there's a story behind how this was first scientifically.
Well, it's probably the
discovered?
slug thing, right?
Right.
They were like, well, slugs shrink in salt, so
Of course, an anus will.
So let's sugar instead.
Yeah.
Do you know what a slug could kind of look like? An anus. Let's try it.
And
It kind of look like intestines shooting out of a butthole.
Let's try it.
and here's the thing that, like, it shouldn't bother me, but it did, and I don't know what the alternative is.
It should bother bother you.
No, the thing I'm about to explain, the thing that, like, is that there's no, like, medical sugar. So, like, if and when they do this treatment, they're going to the cafeteria, getting sugar.
Like a little sugar packet.
Right.
Hold on.
Right.
This might hurt a moment.
Yeah. But there's no like medical sugar that they're bringing into this equation. There's just like, hey, somebody go to Starbucks or somebody go to the cafeteria and get the sugar from there, which feels worse.
Sugar?
What's that?
How do you sanitize sugar?
I don't know, but I just feel like if you're getting something in a hospital, it should be like doctorized. It should be like you should be getting it from a medical institution, not from like the coffee cart. Like it just feels like anything that, right? Am I crazy here? Like,
No, you're not.
Like
Because
just,
they're still gonna charge you like $100,000 for that sugar packet.
Right.
Coffee.
Exactly. So hopefully this is not a thing that happens to any of us.
Knock on wood.
Yeah.
Yeah, please no.
But as the doctor points out, I did not think that there was anything above a 0% chance of it happening to me, and now I'm discovering that there is greater than 0% chance of it happening to me, and all of us, not just me.
I just need to point out that I've quickly been Googling when did this get discovered, and I have not found the answer to when it got discovered, but of course Reddit provided some great pull quotes, such as, well, this ruins a perfectly good Def Leppard song for me.
Good job.
Yeah. Somebody else said, so we've been saying sugar tits this whole time, but we were wrong. Oh my god. Great. Yeah, okay, I could keep reading that. But I won't.
Yeah. So now we know that's a thing. Now we know this is a thing that we never want to have happen to us, but it is a possibility. And I'm horrified by the possibility.
The side of, I feel like pregnancies.
From putting sugar in your butt? What?
No, prolapse.
Yes. Yeah, that's another way to get pregnant, is putting sugar in your butthole.
Little known
I mean,
Yeah.
listen, this country is getting real close to believing that kind of shit, so let's be real. No, you're right. I think you're right, Julia. Like, people, yeah.
We're just going to enjoy his butt doctor comment up there.
Yeah. But
There it goes.
There. Yeah. All right. So that's my story. Is that anybody in chat? Has it ever happened to you? Have you ever tried it? Have you ever considered it? I'm assuming the answer is probably no.
Kinky one night, and you're just like, hey.
I can't wait for chat to be like, yeah, well, actually, there was this one time.
I mean,
Me and a slug.
You live your best life.
No, exactly. Whatever you do, whatever you want to do. Yeah.
I mean,
not any young, but
Stay safe.
I mean, but Julia makes an excellent point. Is that like the prolapse anus situation is not ridiculously uncommon during pregnancy. Therefore, that like there
probably more people than you think. Where some people may have had this happen.
Right. Exactly. So for some of those people, they were treated with sugar. Some of those people, so like we probably know somebody. Maybe we know somebody in chat. I think. Maybe not. I don't know.
Michelle is declining.
All right, Michelle. If you want to, if that's the stance you want to take, then that's the stance we'll go with. I guess that does that mean it's time for us to move on to what the fact?
Oh, I think we're ready. Facts.
Okay.
How are the facts going to get weirder than these stories? Is what I want to know.
They're not. They're not. I will say they are not weirder than these stories. I don't think. Right. So let's get into our first one. Our first one's pretty innocuous. It's about Frank Sinatra. Frank Sinatra tried to fight in World War II, but the army said, no, you are not allowed to go fight in World War II. What was the reason for him not being able to fight in World War II? Was it that the U.S. Army considered him to be his voice to be too important to America, that it inspired people, and they really wanted to keep him safe? Was it that he was so famous that they were afraid that it would put the other soldiers at risk because they were like, hey, let's attack the Frank Sinatra group? Or was it because he failed his psych exam when he actually tried to become a soldier? Julia, I'll go to you first.
I mean, really wanted to be A. So I'm gonna go with it. I'm gonna go crazy.
Okay.
Yeah, his voice just, I mean, that soulful voice. You couldn't lose it.
Right. I mean, I agree. I feel as though like his soothing tones were wonderful.
Yeah. Elvis, however, they were like, get in there, get in the war, go, bye. But Frank Sinatra.
Joy saying probably A, but I would love to vote. But I would vote C. Fair. Heather, what are you thinking?
So Julia hit on exactly why I'm going to pick C, even though before you put the choices up, I was like, maybe it was just like he's too much of a national treasure and they were afraid. But I actually then thought, I was like, wait, but there are other singers like that were beloved that got sent to war. Then I was like, no, you probably just failed a psych exam. It's probably like, who knows? So I'm going to go with C.
Okay. Michelle
wants it to be A, but it's going to go with B.
She's going to go with B. Should have gone with Heather. He failed his psych exam. It specifically said he was considered not acceptable material from a
oh my god, I would love to know what he said.
From a psychology viewpoint.
Probably wasted. Probably showed up.
Maybe, yeah, maybe that's the problem. Yeah.
Right, yeah. Elvis went, like, they just considered Frank Sinatra to be crazy.
I was like, Elvis definitely went. I don't know if this was the same war because my timelines aren't great, but was Bing Crosby or Jimmy Stewart or one of them, like, they went to war too?
Probably.
Jimmy Stewart did. Jimmy Stewart.
I know he's not a singer, but
performed.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Jimmy Stewart, who was like a treasure,
like a bunch of the big like baseball players around that time too.
That's why we had League of Their Own.
Yes. Exactly.
Frank Sinatra was just a psychopath.
He was just too problematic to go to war.
Moving on to question number 2. Question number 2. The Law and Order dun-dun sound is actually made up of many sounds, including which of these? At least one of these is part of the dun-dun sound, which was like custom made specifically for it, and the dude who designed it gets paid every time they make the noise because it's considered a song.
I love that.
Whoever his entertainment lawyer is a genius.
Yep. He said he describes the sound as ching ching because he makes so much money every time it plays. So in that sound, included in it is 20 dead fish falling on a wood floor, 500 Japanese men stomping their feet, or Bruce Lee punching Chuck Norris in the gut. Just one of those options is part of the dun-dun noise that plays in Law and Order every single time. Heather, I'll go to you first since I went to Julia last time. So I give Julia an advantage.
I want it to be C because C is so hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I'm gonna go with B because I feel like it could sound like feet stomping. Something about it could sound. I don't know why it has to be Japanese men, but
that's a very specific.
Right. It's very specific. But I feel like it's people. It's stomping on the floor, and I don't think it's possible for it to be dead fish. I just don't think it would have that funk, that like sound.
Okay. All right. That's an answer. Julia, what's your answer?
Yeah, I was gonna go with A just because of the Japanese men. The specificity of the mash
too much
is a lot. But yeah, I think we all want it to be C. Although, and I did because I knew we had a Law and Order. I brought my Law and Order water bottle. I don't know if you can
nice.
But it says dun across the ass.
That's amazing. Wow.
Christopher Maloney. So yeah, I'm gonna go with A.
Okay.
That's amazing.
So we have a Heather. You went with B?
I went with B. Yeah.
Okay.
So we have a good mix.
Yeah. Joy's going with C. Michelle's going with C. I also wanted it to be C. Sadly, it is not C. It is.
Damn it.
It is 500 Japanese men stomping their feet. It just said that's what it said in the article. So
Why you gotta be Japanese?
I don't know. 'Cause
Right?
they
I was
were.
like, all right.
They don't have to be.
Okay.
They don't have to be.
They just were. Okay.
They just were.
Yeah. I spent a
I'm
long.
also fascinated though that sound it contains multitudes. Like it's not just like
Yeah.
one thing. He combined all of these things.
Right. Honestly, I always just thought it was like some electronic keyboard sound that someone created. Like
Yes,
someone
but-
just programmed it in and was like, bump, bump.
No.
Yeah.
It's at least 7 different sounds combined together. One being
wild.
500 Japanese men stomping their feet.
You know what? That guy, and I mean this not, sorry, I truly mean this. That guy earned that. He deserves that much because it's iconic. That's amazing to think that that's a master at their craft. That's
He never has to work again because of.
good for him. That's awesome.
Yeah, because there's also 8 Law and Orders. So not only did it work on that show, but it's played in every Law and Order. Oh my God.
Syndication. You can find an episode airing of Law and Order
Literally at any time.
guaranteed 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
Yes.
On some network.
Yeah, I can't imagine how much money he's making off it. I don't want to know. I'm just gonna have to move on with my life. What sport is the official sport of Maryland? Is it rock skipping? Is it jousting? Or is it slap fighting? One of these is considered the official sport of Maryland. Heather, I'll go to you first.
I think it's slap fighting.
You think it's slap
I'm pretty
fighting?
sure. I think it's slap fighting.
Okay. What
There's a lot of slap fighting videos on YouTube.
Okay.
And while I can't remember if they're all in Maryland, I feel like a lot of them feel like Maryland.
All right.
I think it's slap fighting.
What does Maryland feel like, Heather? Before we
It
move
feels like
on?
slap fighting. Because without the choices, I was going to be like crab racing or like something where the crabs were being made to do stupid shit. So then seeing slap fighting, which is also ridiculous. I mean, in my personal opinion, it's ridiculous.
Yes.
Yeah. Joy is also saying C.
Yep.
Please, C. Yeah.
Julia, what do you think?
I'm gonna go with jousting.
Okay, what makes you go with jousting?
Their state flag is very medieval times. So it's a
Good
state
point.
flag.
That's a
You-
good point. It is.
Wait, you know the state flag of Maryland?
What?
How do you know the state flag of Maryland?
I contain multitudes as well as the dun-dun noise. I actually, in 4th grade, we had to each pick a state and do like an entire deep dive into that state, and I picked Maryland because that's where my grandparents lived. And begrudgingly, part of the article was you had to draw the state flag, and everyone else was like, "Here's mine. It's like a white with like a circle on it." And the state flag of Maryland is a bitch.
I mean, it really, to call it medieval times is like a perfect description.
Yep.
Yeah.
So B. I'm going B. Jousting.
Well, it turns out you are correct. It is jousting. I forgot the reason why, but probably the medieval times thing. I looked it up.
The
I'm gonna
flag
forget.
is, I bet
Yeah.
that logic is 100% why.
Yeah. I do wish it was slap fighting, and probably there is another state that has slap fighting as their official sport, but we will.
Probably
I'll
New
save
York
that up.
City.
Yeah.
No.
I feel like we're basketball or some shit, right?
New Yorkers are like, because I don't think a New Yorker is really going to put up with another person where they stand there and they like let a person slap them.
I watched
and
a
like,
girl
yeah.
slap an Elmo in Times Square yesterday.
Really?
All right, I stand corrected. Also, my hat is off to that girl. Good job, ma'am.
Oh, I was like, yeah, she's right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I wish. Record that next time. Please record that next time. That brings us to our final segment, which is Would You Rather. Heather, do you want to get to the right thing?
Yeah, I'll start us off. This is, whew, you got some crazy ones today, Dustin. All right. So, would you rather, picture this, walk down a 1 mile long pitch black tunnel filled with spiders, or swim 10 feet in shark infested water with a paper cut on your foot? So your options are 1 mile with spiders, pitch black tunnel, or 10 feet with sharks. Julia, we'll go to you.
Did we break Julia?
I mean, I've swam with sharks before, but in a cage. I don't know. Yeah, it's the paper. It's the paper cut detail, though.
Right.
Because the blood's in the water now, and so they're gonna be like. I feel like if you didn't have the paper cut, they'd kind of leave you alone.
Yeah, you
And
can make it.
Yeah. And spiders, I feel like I could fight better. But like, even though I couldn't see them, I would just like walk down the tunnel like slapping. Or like stomping, you know? Like, more.
I love that.
How fast you had to walk through the mile with spiders, so I'd just run.
Yeah, you could.
But swimming it, you're a little more limited.
I'm
gonna go a mile with spiders.
You gotta be careful with the running though, because in theory, like you don't know where they are. If you start tripping on spiders and then you fall, then you're like in a real bad situation.
How many spiders are in this tunnel?
Like a lot of spiders.
Julia Joy wants you to slap fight them.
Yeah, I'm gonna slap fight spiders.
All right.
All right, Dustin.
That would totally work. I went with the spiders, even though like Joy's gonna be mad at me for that answer, but I went with the spiders just because I feel like the spiders would be very upsetting and scar me for life, but not kill me. So the sharks would potentially like bite my foot off, and I feel like that would be like way worse. So like I think to like Julia's point, like I don't know if I would slap, although slapping is probably a good idea, but like even just maybe doing like one of these so that like they don't like get all up in your face, and just sort of like run would probably be the way to go. So I'm gonna go. Like the problem is that like 10 feet's not that far. Like 10 feet you could probably do like real fast. Like I'm 6 feet tall to begin with. Like I've covered 6 feet when I get in the water.
Count 10 feet. Like a pool is longer than 10 feet. And you can swim across a pool in seconds.
Right. So like it's pretty fast, but there's the possibility of death versus the spider thing, which is very long, but realistically no possibility of death. So given the death possibility, I still feel like I have to go with the spiders, even though it's very upsetting. Joy's saying she will not help me.
She did, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, now I know that. But
she's not helping you.
That's not a very nice thing to say.
Excuse me.
I am in danger, and you're not helping me. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the spiders, even though I would hate every single second of it. What about you, Heather?
So this one's so weird because I'm not scared of spiders. I would not be scared to walk through the spiders. The part that makes me stop and think about that one is the fact that it's a pitch black tunnel, which I find terrifying. It brings out the claustrophobia, that fear of like tight enclosed spaces. I know it doesn't say it's tight enclosed spaces, but like I'm just assuming it might be, and that it's pitch black and it's a mile, that's 20 city blocks. That's a lot. That's a lot to be like in pitch black, not being able to see anything. But the spider part doesn't scare me. Like, fine, that's fine. I'm not bothered by that. The 10 feet with sharks, right? It's 10 feet. That's not that long. I don't know though, because this is tough because the 10 feet is so short. I agree with Julia. It's like that's 2 seconds. You're just like boop boop boop. You're done. But like, what if in that minute maybe that it takes you, a shark is like paper cut and it kills you and then you die. Which is whereas the spiders you're just like spiders. Right. The worst is like you have a spider crawl on you for a little bit. I don't know, because I've been volleying back and forth the whole time we've been talking about this, because I'm like, maybe I'd choose the sharks just because it's 10 feet, so it's really fast. But at the same time, I'm like, as terrifying
you can't move very fast because sharks respond to movement.
Right.
They're like T-Rexes.
And I'm like, I think
They
Right.
respond to like the emotion.
Well, and I think that if I were like going into this pitch black tunnel and I knew that the spiders aren't going to kill me, and that I was going to get out after a mile, I could talk myself out of the panic of like, this is terrifying. Also, like, I think about when things are pitch black, like you do start to get a little bit of eyesight. Like, it's never going to be great, but you start to like become a little more, like you can kind of start to see things. Your
daredevil abilities happen? Is that what you're suggesting?
Like a little bit, like when it's really, I don't know if does that happen to either of you where it's like really dark and then you can start to make things out? Yeah. So I know, Dustin, I'm sorry. I know. I apologize for an insensitive thing that I'm asking.
Yeah, I will choose to stay out of this one.
No, it's okay. I understand.
Yeah.
But I think because of that, I'll go with the 1 mile with the spiders, because the spiders don't scare me, and the risk of death does scare me, and it just seems dumb. Like, why would I put myself at that risk if it's just me having to conquer a fear versus like I might legitimately die?
Okay.
So cool. I guess I'll go with that.
This one was more contentious than I more difficult than I thought it might be.
Yeah, same. Because when I first read it, I was like, oh, obviously the sharks, because I can't walk in a dark tunnel. But then the more I thought of it, I was like, I don't know. Yeah,
it's the paper cut detail.
Right.
Honestly, for me, it's the paper cut detail.
Right. Oh, if there was no paper cut, agreed. I'd be like, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you send it. Yeah, because they're not going to bother you. But like,
yeah, they're going to be like, leave me alone, human.
Low enough, they'll just think they'll think you're a fish because you're in water, Dustin.
Exactly.
There you go.
And I'm peeing all over the place.
They might like come over and like smell you, but they just like go away.
Right.
All right, Julia, your turn.
Okay. So mine probably, I don't think mine's gonna have as much of a hard decision, but
We'll see.
I don't know your lives. So would you rather only take ice cold showers from now on forever, or take a warm bath in water 2 strangers used before you? So used water, but it's warm, or ice cold shower forever. Dustin, I'm gonna go to you first.
I mean, like, I partially saw this one as something that I think like Heather would just be so upset by that for some reason I felt like we needed to do it.
I hate this question very much.
I went with the bath. Just because I've tried cold showers, like for whatever reason, my therapist is like, or my previous therapist is like super into the idea of cold showers. Like, if you can handle a cold shower, you can handle everything, and it's some like whatever kind of thing. And I tried it, and I was like, no, I can't. I guess I cannot handle everything. Cold showers are the worst. Cold showers are very upsetting. A nice warm bath is far more pleasant, even though it'll be kind of like dirty, so you never feel like you're super clean. But I don't know, just the idea of a warm bath just makes me so much happier than a cold shower. I think like every day I would be just so like upset by the day knowing that I had to do this cold shower, that I feel like other than like right now it wouldn't be that bad because it's 80 degrees and these lights are incredibly warm. But I'm gonna go with bath.
Heather.
I don't know. I hate all of this. I hate ice cold showers. Even when it is very hot and it's like today, it's very hot. I have like, even during heat waves, been like, I'm gonna take a cold shower, and like I still can't tolerate it being really, really cold. Like, I'll turn the water on and I'll be like, that's lukewarm, perfect. And like, that is all I want to cool me off. I've tried to do the thing where it's like, put your hair under cold water for 30 seconds because it helps seal the cuticle and make your hair shinier. That's a thing, by the way. I don't know if it's proven, but it's like a dumb like thing that I tried once. Hated that. But I also am disgusted by the concept of bathwater after 2 people used it, because I'm assuming it's not draining. It's not like a thing where the water is constantly running, so it is just nasty filth water.
Yep.
And it's like you're a colonial. It's like you're a pioneer.
I was thinking that. I'm like, this is what they used to do in those days. They would just all be disgusting. They'd all bathe like God knows how infrequently, and then you all just used each other's water. It's like the freaking people using each other's COVID tests. I cannot. That's a thing. People were using their own COVID tests.
What?
How does that work?
To save on COVID.
Use it?
Okay, to save on COVID tests, families were just all sticking the same swab up each family member's nose, and then figuring that if one of them had it, then they all had to quarantine. So you would just like, mom would swipe, dad would swipe, daughter would swipe, everyone would swipe, and then they would just do that as a rapid test. This is the world we live in, also because like rapid tests were so hard to get.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was not disgusting, right? Google it, it's real.
Yeah.
That is right. You'll sit in other people's butt sugar. So I think that
I like to think that the doctors wipe off the sugar before you go home.
It goes back up into your prolapsed anus with it.
because your butt puckers back up, so it's going back up.
Sorry.
No, it's true. It's true. I think the sugar goes on your butt and it puckers back up.
But there's like got to be a wipe for that or something, isn't there? Or like, they just send you home with sugar in your butt?
I mean, I guess it comes out eventually.
We need more doctors in the chat.
I know,
think that's the thing we've discovered is we need more doctors in the chat.
Yeah. I'm surprised that like the TV shows no one's done this.
Yeah, actually,
Yeah.
House wasn't that the one with the weird things?
House was the one with the Sherlock Holmes medical cases.
Right.
Grey's Anatomy has all like the romance, and we're working our way through ER, which is just like medical drama.
Very medical.
Well, anyway.
But actually, more importantly, Heather, what would you do? Like,
I'm gonna go.
showers.
I think I'm gonna have to take the ice cold shower. As much as I hate it, I hate both of these. But I don't think I could possibly. Like, I would be just so physically revolted by this used bath water. It's just so gross to me. Whereas the ice cold shower, I think I would just like I'd stand outside of it and I'd just really slowly like here for 2 seconds. This for 2 seconds, like I would just like, I'd slap fight the water, until I finally felt like I was clean. So I'm gonna go with that, as much as I hate it.
Okay, Julia, what's your answer?
Well, as I said before, I do contain multitudes. I actually, as a child, trained myself to take ice cold showers for a period of time because I'm probably a psychopath, and convinced myself that it's healthier for you to take ice cold showers in the dark. That was a specific
Oh my god, these are all things I hate.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but
were you also like surrounded by dolls whose hair you've cut off completely, just staring at you the whole time? Like, was it like?
I mean, those dolls didn't come into the bathroom with me, but my bedroom might have been.
Okay.
I'm a puppeteer, folks. We're a weird bunch. But also, even if that part of my life had not happened, I'm with Heather, and just the thought of like walking up to bathwater, even if it didn't look murky, it would be murky. You could tell that there were other like human juices in it before you.
Mm-hmm.
No,
every day of your life.
You just bubble that shit. You just bubble it.
One quick bath.
Dustin.
This is like every day you have to walk up to bath water that other human.
Yeah. And who knows, like, how clean, like, maybe one day the person was fairly clean, but maybe other days they were not clean.
I think back to Pioneer time where they all took a bath, like, once a week or month. Yeah. And so the water probably was just, like...
Right, but the random person isn't a pioneer. The random person is, like, somebody that lives near you.
I take the train.
I mean, I also personally don't even like baths just when it's just me, because I feel like I'm soaking in my own... I'm, like, stewing in my own juice. So, yeah, I'm going with showers.
Okay. All right.
Back to my youth. I'm going back to my youth. High school.
I also think that you are, I think you're making yourself sound, you're like, I'm probably a psychopath. No, that just sounds like crazy shit kids do. Where a kid, like, I once challenged myself as a kid to not pee for 24 hours, which is not safe. And no one told me to do it. I just decided, can I do it?
Oh yeah, I remember actually my parents like intervening at one point and being like, you don't have to do this.
Yeah, but it's like when you're a kid. I think that's literally just like Yeah. So I don't think that makes you a psychopath.
Training, if I'm ever a prisoner of war, I guess I was training.
There you go. There you go. Although
this was a concern.
Yeah, random human juices. Yeah.
It's gross.
Yeah, it's true.
All right. I don't think we ever really. Do we get an answer from chat? I feel like we got facts, but I don't know that we got an answer from chat specifically.
I don't think we really got answers from chat.
Everyone was.
Oh no, that's not true. Joy said ice shower and Michelle said ice shower. So actually, chat.
You're the only one, Justin, who's gonna bait other people.
Okay.
Other people's goals.
Here's the benefit that I have, as I've explained to Joy in the past. Like, my apartment is cleaner than I think, or isn't as clean as I think it is, but to me it's clean because I don't see all the dirt. So I feel like in a bathing situation, if I was unaware of how murky the water was by virtue of like bubble bathing it, then I wouldn't feel that same level of like repulsion from it.
You're kind of at an advantage here.
Right, I would just like...
Ignorance is bliss.
Right, I have plausible deniability. I would still prefer a shower, but not an ice cold shower because it's really rough. All right, which brings us to our last question that I need to bring up because I forgot what it was. Okay, you have to go away for a certain amount of time. I forgot the exact dates, but I'm going to make them up. Your choices are 1 week on a vacation with your enemy. You have to spend the entire time with that person, but it's in a beautiful, wonderful place, a place that you would definitely want to go, that you're excited about going, or spend 3 weeks just in a dingy jail cell where it's that like thing where there's like a toilet in there and you have to like go to the bathroom in front of each other and like sleep on like the cots and just like generally be in prison for 3 weeks. What would be your choice? Julia, I'm going to go to you first.
Before I answer, I like Michelle's comment. Jail with her worst enemy, just for the chaos.
Just the chaos.
Yeah. That's hard. These ones are all hard this week. I was leaning toward jail, my best friend, just because like it's your best friend. You can make the best out of a situation. But it's the length of time, I think, that I'm gonna have to lean toward, because I feel like if you're on a tropical island, like you're not locked in a room. It's not locked in a room on a tropical island with your enemy. It's vacationing with your enemy. Like you can barely see each other and just have to like share a room at your hotel.
I feel like part of it has to be that like if you go to the beach, the enemy's coming with you. If you like go to dinner, the enemy's coming with you. It's like, think of it like the way you would go with like a significant other, where you're going to spend like a good portion of the time together. Otherwise, like you could just be like, peace, I'm out, and like.
Yeah. I think I'm still gonna go vacation with an enemy. Just, it's 1 week. I can disassociate. I can make small talk and be nice and civil for 1 week, as opposed to 3 weeks in jail. Like, even if you're with your bestest friends, that's pretty awful. You can only make light of a situation for so long.
Right. Okay. All right.
So I'm gonna go vacation with an enemy.
What about you, Heather?
I'm also gonna go with vacation with an enemy. I won't like it. It won't be fun. I can think of some people that I would be forced to go on a vacation with right now, and it would be awful, and I would not enjoy it. But it would be tropical. Like, let's assume it's like a really beautiful place, right? Yeah. We're all like tropical, right? Some great, cool place. As long as the enemy's not gonna like try to kill you or whatever, it's just like they're annoying or whatever it is that makes them an enemy to you.
I feel like you just bicker a lot. Like, I feel it,
Right. Like, I'm thinking of a person.
It might be just like going on vacation with a significant other. Like,
well, I'm thinking of a person that I find like really annoying and really just like disrespectful and just kind of distasteful. But like,
names?
I could deal with it. Absolutely not. I could deal with it. Yeah, I could deal with it on a tropical island. Or like in a nice place because even for me, if you said like go to New Orleans with your enemy, and I'll be like, all right.
Yeah.
Drink. I was about to say drink beignets, eat beignets and drink and deal with it, and it's a week. And that was the biggest thing that I agree with Julia. 3 weeks is a freaking long time. And assumedly, your best friend can't prevent you from the other stuff that might happen in jail. Therefore, I don't want to be in jail for 3 weeks.
Right.
Like some person comes up to you and is like, all I know about prison is what I've seen on TV. So I assume some person's going to come up to you and try to like, is it shiv, shank, both things.
Both are fair.
What was my best friend's going to help with that? They can't stop that. So I'll go with the vacation with an enemy for a week.
Okay. I think I'm going to go that route also, just for all the reasons you guys expressed. And like, I don't know that like my worst enemy is that bad. Like I don't have like a villain enemy. Like I just have people I don't like particularly. Like I imagine the person. I wonder what the math would be, because I imagine the person who I hate the most is not the person who hates me the most. Like I don't have a clear. What's that?
They said her enemy is fighters. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so like I don't know, like I don't even know how I would pick it specifically who like my worst enemy is. If it's like the person who I hate the most, like they probably don't know that I hate them to that level. So like I could fake it for a while and we'll just like have a good time. I think like being put in a prison cell with anybody for that amount of time would drive you crazy. And I think that like I just think the trying to make the best of it, you'd probably both end up like getting on each other's nerves, and it would just be like, it'd just be really rough. And yeah, I'm not good in prison. I'd be a very bad prisoner in terms of like getting stabbed. I would get stabbed like early and often. So I'm gonna.
And if you don't, right, and if you don't take Andy Fitch with you, no one's gonna protect you.
Right. So right. I have to bring Andy.
That's me who goes with you.
Yep.
I don't think she would do well in prison either, honestly.
No.
Like, not to put a read on Andy Fitch, but...
Oh, wait. I'll tell you that my gut response was like, I was like, no. And then I was like, knapsack full of things that could become knives.
Oh, yeah.
I think he might be able to craft some knives and some things out of, like, a piece of cement. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but there's a lot of folks that, like, if you don't stab them successfully the first time, are just gonna...
Well, now they're your enemy. And
Yeah.
now you're not on vacation with them.
That's our last one, guys. That's the end of our show. Julia, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me back.
Of course.
Always a delight.
Where can people find out more about what you got going on?
Yeah, I mean, I don't do social media as much as the youth, but I do it. So you can find me on Instagram. I think is probably the easiest, because I don't really use Facebook or anything anymore. So yeah, I try to update my stories and stuff of what I'm doing, but I'm doing a lot of shot for shots with Heather, Corecast Baby, and I also tour with Wonder Spark Puppets. If you have little ones or you have an affinity for children's theater, you can go on their website and find out where we're doing stuff. And then I just signed a contract. I'm doing a brand new kids musical in the fall at the Tank.
Nice.
Called Simon Shoes. It's gonna be
Awesome.
weird. It's a very dark kids musical about death and shoes.
Awesome.
Is it going to use the Christmas shoes song?
Oh my god, I wish. No, it's a little more not Christmas, but there's a lot more death in it than there probably should be.
Okay.
Wow.
Shoes.
Heather, how about you? What do you got? You got anything coming out?
Yeah, Saturday. Yeah, this is going to be good. Saturday, we're doing Shot for Shot Sweeney Todd at Young Ethel's. Julia's face just lit up. I am playing Sweeney Todd, so
Nice.
it's going to be great. I'm very excited. We did this one on Zoom like a year ago.
And Heather was
so-
brilliant, and everyone should go see this because she was
Thanks.
amazing.
Thanks. Hopefully I will bring more brilliance. But I'm excited. It's literally one of my top 5 favorite musicals, so I'm extremely excited to do this. So,
Nice.
Young Ethel's 8 o'clock Saturday.
Nice. Awesome. Well, thank you guys again so much for stopping by. Thank you, to Julia, for being an amazing guest. Thank you guys for everyone in chat for playing along with us. And you can find us back here next Monday with another fun guest. And thank you again. See you later.